Hello, my loves. Welcome to your pick a card reading. This one I'm super stoked about. It's my own kind of like homage to Stranger Things. So, in this pick a card reading, you're going to pick the pile that actually has a name of a character that you're most kind of vibing with right now. And then the tarot cards are going to say what that represents about your situation, kind of challenges and guidance for the future. So the picture is going to come up. Go ahead and pause this video. If you haven't seen it on Instagram, pause the video, take a moment to look at the picture, pick the pile that feels right for you, and then I'll explain them right after the pick. Okay, my friends who picked pile one, the pile on the left, you got Nancy. You are most vibing with Nancy Wheeler at the time. So just what we know about Nancy is like hardworking, not to be underestimated. So if some people underestimate you, too bad. They shouldn't. Interested in journalism, going after your dreams. Definitely like a caring partner, someone who's like passionate, but also practical. So you are probably a bit of a tour de force. Like there's not a lot of stopping you. And the cards that go along with message Nancy is we've got the Three of Cups and the King of Pentacles. When I looked at the Three of Cups, I was just thinking about Nancy's ability to talk to people. When you see Nancy trying to get a story, get more information for a story, she's very good at talking to people just like respectfully, just asking honest questions. It's not about being manipulative, but you really do get more bees with honey than with vinegar. And it's not from a place of like, oh, I'm going to be so nice and then people are going to tell me what I need to know. No, because the Three of Cups is about like, you're all getting along, but there's a lot of balance there. And the Smith-Rider-Waite deck is the three muses kind of dancing around, but they're all on even footing. There's no hierarchy of power there in that card. And this card is in the Shadowland Tarot is the same. We can see three people, monsters, like hugging around the space. So right now I would say with this King of Pentacles, and of course King of Pentacles, those are your long-term, your like juicy goals. That's your like, I want to have my own business and I want to be traveling all the time. I want my business to like run itself. I want to have a beautiful lake, land, house, place, that I can go and chill at whenever I have time off work. This is like, I want to be in the Olympics, right? These are your big, juicy goals by the time we get to the King of Pentacles. And we see that Nancy's ambitious. We watch Nancy get a job and be treated like absolute crap working for a paper with all those like chauvinistic buttholes. I was about to swear and I was like, can you swear on YouTube? You probably can, but I don't know. So just in case. A-holes and sticking with it, right? In order to progress in her career, progress towards her goals and her ambitions. And we see her later always find ways to like navigate challenges to get ahead. There was no stopping Nancy and there is no stopping you. So the way forward is treat other people the way you want to be treated. Just be like respectful. Recognize that other people, like when you succeed, you can help other people succeed. When other people succeed, they can help you succeed. So there's definitely the sense of kind of like joyous community and connectivity that's going to help you with your really long-term juicy goals. So, I mean, get clear with your long-term juicy goals, right? I'm sure you've all heard about those studies that like the people who write down their goals, like the what and the when, and then read them every day and take steps towards them every day, it's like heads and tails ahead of people who don't do that. And so I really feel like for you is like drawing on that Nancy ambition, that Nancy like I eat challenges for breakfast like Cheerios energy, and then leaning into your community in order to do that. I did pull one more card for general guidance about this, and you did get the Four of Pentacles. So this, I think, really aligns with the Three of Cups, because the Four of Pentacles, we can see this person is hoarding. So we can see that they're like, they're just clutching all their little coins to their chest, and they're all alone. And that, like, if you think about it, if you were holding things to your chest, is this vibing with the King of Pentacles? Like, no, not at all. You're pushing things away when you hold things too close, when you don't let people in. So there's still this sense of the Three of Cups, connecting with people, being open, being vulnerable, talking to people, celebrating people, letting people help you, and having some joy about that, letting that be like, yay, I'm so glad I could help that person. I'm so glad that person helped me. And let that be the magic that carries you towards your long-term goals, and not some of this like, I have to do it all myself and I don't trust anyone, because that is kind of like hoardy gremlin energy and is not going to take you to the King of Pentacles. So you've got this, my friends. Thanks for listening. And for my friends who picked pile two, so the middle pile, you got Dustin. Dustin, sweet, super smart, nerdy, awesome Dustin. So the cards associated with Dustin are the Emperor and the Eight of Swords. So what we know about Dustin is very curious. Dustin is like passionate about learning. Dustin's like a nerd, but I don't even think Dustin looks at it that way. Like Dustin likes what Dustin likes. So if you have chosen this pile, you like what you like, and you should definitely be embracing those things and pursuing those things that light you up. Like, what do they say in the show? Like the Curiosity Voyage? That is fun. That is fun. Isn't it great to be so excited? Like when he goes to the library and he wants to get all those different books out. He's like, I'm on a curiosity voyage. That is a beautiful energy to behold. Dustin is also a really good friend. We see what a great friend Dustin is. He is a lovely little boyfriend singing very cute songs with Susie. So this to me, again, for you, so not only are you like curious and passionate and maybe like a young at heart spirit, I'm also picking up on the fact that like you are a wonderful partner and a wonderful friend. Mwah. You're probably pretty sensitive. There's also that, right? I always thought Dustin, I was like, I bet Dustin's a Cancer, like Virgo Cancer. Like that's what I'm picking up for Dustin. Just, because when he gets back from out of town and his friends like walk with him all the way up the hill to set up his like thing to talk to Susie. But then they're like busy and he's mad at them. I was like, Dustin, like they have lives too, my friend. But anyways, but so let's talk about those cards. So I really see the Emperor is like your strength, your stability, and your confidence and your strategy. Because the Emperor is really like, what's permission? You know what I mean? They really stand with a straight spine and they lead by example, right? This Emperor is really someone who's like a steward of the earth or like their business or an organization. So there's someone who they're leading, but it's not to have power over. It's because they're natural leaders. This is a good place for the Emperor to be in, is a place of leadership. And they really know what to do to get the job done. I'm really seeing that your curiosity, your passion for learning, and your ability to be a good friend, and then I would assume have good friends, lends itself to a lot of stability and confidence in your life. So if you're feeling like the Eight of Swords, so we can see how the Eight of Swords, there's this figure surrounded by feathers and they're tied up and like, no one's keeping there. There's no guard who's like, don't you dare escape. Like there's no cliff that they're going to fall off. Like this bird could literally just wiggle out of those ropes and fly free. So this card shows up when we have become prisoners of our thoughts. We've become prisoners of like overthinking, being overcritical, overanalyzing, this kind of thing, like an overemphasis on problem-based thinking and not enough balancing that out with solution-based thinking. But the Emperor's major arcana, which means that it trumps the minor arcana. So I would say right now you have way more strength, and just notice if you get into that like space of like, I don't know, like doom thinking, right? Overthinking, be like, hold on, no, I know that my path ahead, I know that my power is in my passion and my purpose and my leadership, and I can turn to my friends, my relationships, and that which lights me up. And that's really what's going to help me stand tall and be confident. And that message is really solidified with the final card here, which is the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is this like so passionate and so magnetic. It's like the King of Wands is really good at what they do. And it's not because they want to just like show off. Like, I don't think the King of Wands minds showing off. There can be a slightly performative, not in a negative way, but just like I like to perform kind of like spirit. But it is someone who's truly, truly so lit up by what they do. And because they're so lit up and because they're so passionate, they excel at it. And then because they excel at it and they radiate this enthusiasm, people are like, I want in on that. I don't know if you've been around someone who's so excited about what they're doing. You're just like, I love this energy. And that's very much the King of Wands. So to me, with you Dustin people right now, any kind of overthinking, come back to your passion, come back to your enthusiasm, come back to your friends. And that's really what's going to help you light you up, thrive, succeed, and inspire others. So that's pretty dope. Okay, my friends, for those who pick pile 3, so the pile on the right, your Stranger Things twin at this time is Jonathan. Okay, so you are our eclectic little babies, creative, marching to the beat of your own drum. You don't want to do the status quo just because that's what everyone else is doing. Possibly some tendencies to isolate or just really enjoy your alone time. Devoted to family, that's a big part of Jonathan. We see you do anything for his brother, anything for his mom. And while Jonathan appears to be very in love with Nancy, we can also sort of see some self-sabotagey bits going on, which lends us now to the reading. So your cards for Jonathan, we got the Five of Swords and the Knight of Cups. My friends, there might be some conflict, some not so fun energies happening in your relationships right now. And part of this could be, a little bit of immaturity, heightened sensitivity, and not really knowing how to navigate conflict. And we can see that with Jonathan. It's interesting. Jonathan with Will, you're like, oh my God, best big brother ever. Like if I was Joyce, I'd be so flippin' proud of how great Jonathan treats Will, right? He's very mature in that way. And he's so kind to Will and like supportive. And we know that not all siblings are like that. We know not all families are like that. So that's beautiful. So I mean, that for you, like there's definitely relationships in your life in which you're like very mature and very supportive. You do anything. But there's some relationships right now that are suffering from not knowing how to address conflict and not really knowing how to understand your emotions, because the Knight of Cups is like Trey emotional. Like the Knight of Cups loves love, like loves to love and like poetry and creativity and romance. But the Knight of Cups hasn't quite learned yet how to be careful with other people's feelings. So someone might not have been very careful with your feelings if you get the Five of Swords, and this could be presently or in the past, and then that might make conflict feel really very scary, because if people have not been kind to you in the past, now like fights or conflict doesn't feel like, okay, we just got to sort this out. We got to find peace. It feels like they're going to attack me and everything's going to go to shit and like I'm totally losing my mind and blah, blah, blah. So the Five of Swords wants you to check in with any kind of like self-sabotage when it comes to your relationships. Are you just assuming that the conflict is going to be really bad? Have you tried to talk to people about how you're feeling and just like letting the goal be peace and harmony between you two, as opposed to like, I'm right, you're wrong, or like you're right and I'm wrong and I'm really scared to navigate that? Because the Five of Swords is really like, it's nasty conflict, but sometimes it's really just stemming from the fact that not everyone knows how to navigate conflict. And in fact, I would argue that in this digital age with like texting and emails and so many ways to avoid like human contact, face-to-face conversations, it's probably gotten worse. Because I mean, I grew up like, I didn't have a phone until I was like 20. And I was like, why do I have to have this? I was so annoyed. I remember sending my first text message and I was like, no one's ever going to do this. Because I was like, what a waste of time. I'd rather just call people. And now we text all the time. But so the Five of Swords could just be like, this might just be an opportunity to learn about how to navigate conflict, how to make sure that like you aren't the person who's not being careful with someone's feelings. You aren't the person who's like only thinking about how you are impacted and not thinking about how others are impacted. And it's not very fun medicine, but like we see that Jonathan has to do this. Like he self-sabotages a bit with Nancy. Like the two totally have a thing. And then before they like officially make it a thing, she's like, I waited for you. And he's like, well, I had to be there for Will. She's like, I waited for a month. And you're like, Jonathan, you could have done both, you know? And then we see the same thing at the end of season 4, where Jonathan is like not really sure about what he's doing for school, so he doesn't go visit Nancy. You know, there's sort of this like self-sabotage from not really knowing how to address romantic conflict and not really knowing within himself what he wants to do. And when we don't know ourselves, we're much more likely to have these sort of like conflicted situations because we're not sure like what we're fighting for. You know what I mean? So right now, like we know that you're so loving and you're so creative and you've got a heart bigger than your head beating in your chest. But it's just an invitation to learn about how to navigate conflict in a way that is good for everyone. And your advice for my Jonathan friends is the Star. And the Star is just being yourself, being so honest, be so authentic. You don't need to let fear or doubt put up walls between you and the people you love. And you also don't need to put on blinders if there are some like red flags or things to be concerned about. So the Star is asking you to be inspired by the potential of peace and hope, to be optimistic as well. And I think also too, the Star can be a reminder of it's not just about us. The stars shine and everyone benefits. So there is this suggestion that if you can think about, okay, what does this person need? How do they need to feel seen? What do I need to feel seen? And how can we do it in a way that everyone feels seen, like they're stars? How can we do it in a way that everyone gets their chance to shine and be seen, and I see you and you see me? And then when you do this, there is deep healing that occurs. It's not just healing for now, it's healing for your future relationships. And it's really going to help you have more hope and optimism as you navigate relationships and conflict in the future, because life happens, right? Life happens.